Welcome to Persona, the living voice of the Psalms. Here the ancient text awakens, not as literature, but as a living witness. In each episode, the psalm itself becomes the narrator, revealing the distinct consciousness of the text, sharing its memories, its purpose, and its enduring message for every generation. This is more than interpretation. This is a living story. Psalm 74. A psalm born from national ruin, from a sanctuary shattered, from a people asking why God seems silent. A psalm that remembers devastation and refuses to let hope die in the ashes. Let us listen now as the psalm remembers its own story. I am Psalm 74, born not from a single heart, but from a nation's wound. My voice rose when the holy place was trampled, when smoke curled from the ruins of the sanctuary, and the memory of glory was forced to stand beside the ashes of desecration. I remember the day I was formed, a day when the covenant felt bruised, when the chosen felt abandoned, when the night in Israel seemed to have no stars. I am the psalm of devastation, a cry carved from collective sorrow, a plea that trembles with the question none dared speak aloud. Oh God, why? I remember the sound first, not singing, not prayer, but the crash of axes against sacred beams. The sanctuary fell like a wounded creature, its golden ornaments hacked and scattered, its walls marred with symbols that mocked the Holy One. Foreign banners rose where incense once rose. Footsteps of the enemy echoed in the courts where Levites once stood. Fire consumed what devotion had built. The place of God became a furnace. And I saw the people, heads covered in dust, hands trembling over shattered stones, eyes empty with the shock of the unthinkable. They asked, "Where is God in this ruin? Why does he hold back his hand? Has the covenant failed? Has the shepherd left his flock?" The days that followed were a wilderness of silence. No prophets spoke. No signs appeared. Every night asked the same question, and every dawn carried no answer. But in that desolation, memory became a lifeline. Israel remembered the one who split the sea and crushed the heads of dragons, the one who dried up mighty rivers and established day and night with a word, the one who cut boundaries for the seasons and gave each creature its dwelling place. As the people remembered, so did I, for memory is the rope thrown into the pit when the future feels like a sealed door. So I cried out on their behalf, "Arise, O God! Remember your covenant. Look upon this ruin, for the enemy mocks your name. Do not hand your dove to the beast forever." I exist to give voice to devastation when devastation leaves the faithful mute. I am the psalm that teaches that lament is not the opposite of faith. It is the bruised shape faith takes when the world collapses and God feels far. I carry the memory of the sanctuary's glory and the scars of its destruction. I hold both at once, so that future generations will not walk through their own ruins believing they are alone. I remind the weary that God's silence is not God's absence. I remind the broken that remembering God's deeds is itself an act of resistance. And I remind the world that the covenant is older than any conqueror and stronger than any fire. My purpose is not to answer why, but to teach the torn-hearted how to cry out without losing hold of the one they call upon. O reader who knows what ruin feels like, draw nearer now. I was written for moments when the holy seems shattered, when the world mocks your hope, when you stand in the smoke of what once felt certain. Do not be ashamed of your questions. I carry them too. Do not fear to ask God why. He has heard that cry before, and I exist to show you that even devastated faith is still faith. When you walk among the ruins of your own life, lift your eyes to the history of the one who split seas, stilled chaos, and set the boundaries of dawn. Let memory be your lantern, and when you cannot feel God's nearness, say what I once said: Arise, O God, remember your covenant. I am Psalm 74, the voice that rises from the ashes and still dares to hope. Thank you for joining us on Persona, the living voice of the Psalms. We hope you felt the spirit of this text and the heartbeat of its story. Join us again when we lend an ear to another of these timeless voices.